Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our guests, Anna Vanickova and Petra von der Linden-Brussen. And please apologize my wonderful pronunciations. I'm Melissa Minnich, author of High on Life, A Prescription for Bliss, and live event host for Humanities Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas, and we're so excited to have Anna and Petra join us today. Good morning, ladies, or actually good afternoon for you. How are you and where are you connecting from?
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you so much, Melissa, for having us. And we're really excited also to be with all of you. And we're coming from France, to be specific, Vézelay, which is a beautiful small village that is dedicated actually to Mary Magdalene.
And that's what we're going to be diving into today. So I want to welcome Anna and Petra's audience, the Scene Network, those streaming live through Humanities Team Facebook page, the Humanities Team YouTube channel, and Stream Plus members that are here in the green room with us. Thanks for being members. And for those of you on camera, welcome everyone. And because this is a live program, we'll have time for questions and comments. So try to get your questions in within the first 30 to 40 minutes of the program. Post it in the chat and you'll get your questions answered by these ladies today. So I hope that you take us journey with us as we're going to unveil an incredible place of healing, remembrance, and unity consciousness known as the Mary Magdalene Mystery School. Excuse me, created in France in 2020 after Petra was asked to create such a school by Mary Magdalene and Anna was shown by Jeshua that it was time to materialize a school and center for spiritual research and hermetic teachings. Anna and Petra both contend that divine timing brought these two impulses together. What manifested as a result is the modern day mystery school that calls it a global community committed to building the consciousness of the new earth. Anna and Petra are the founders of the Mary Magdalene's Mystery School, and they are both living in Vézelay, well, I don't even know, it's France. We're going to have to ask that one again, where they serve the mission of the school. Anna is a visionary teacher and healer. She began her career, excuse me, I'm so sorry. One second, everyone. It doesn't usually happen. Okay. Yeah. Began her career as a pianist and multidisciplinary in Canada before joining the post-1989 spiritual revolution in Prague, the Czech Republic. With guidance from spiritual masters, she awakened her healing abilities and worked with multidimensional awareness, ascended masters, and galactic beings. She co-founded several community projects, including a library for women's wisdom, an NGO dedicated to fostering human potential through arts, education, and spirituality, and a forest school for children. She's devoted to reconnecting people with their divine light and the sacred path of their souls. Petra was born in the Netherlands with a deep connection to the subtle invisible realms, leading organizations and projects rooted in the heart's wisdom of unity for over 25 years. Guided by the presence of Mary Magdalene, she embodies Lemurian consciousness and teaches others to anchor peace, harmony, and oneness on earth. As a Maya 4, she creates sacred anointing oils for spiritual ascension and is devoted to guiding humanity back to the unified field of divine oneness. In addition to her business and marketing degrees, she has studied nature medicine, phytotherapy, etheric oils, reflexology, Jungian psychology, astrology, Reiki, and energetic healing. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that the list is so long.
That was a marathon.
It's all
sorry.
Yes, well, and there's also some really wonderful words in there for me to try to pronounce that maybe I should have looked deeper into. But let's first start with mystery school. So this is obviously a modern mystery school, but let's explain, because this comes up in my world all the time, like what exactly is a mystery school and what's the difference between the ancient mystery schools that I'm sure your work is based on and a modern mystery school?
Yeah, well, the mystery school line we know the best probably from Egypt, right? But the mystery schools at that time were hermetic schools. So this means that people came into a closed container, a very safely held container for their own inner spiritual processes, their own spiritual learning processes. These mystery schools, of course, had roots. They had all kinds of wisdom accumulated from the Middle East, but also all the way into India and Tibet. And these were places where one could connect with like-minded community, learn through gnosis, through inner knowingness, rather than through the knowledge line, through outer knowing, which is also a wonderful line, the line of Jnana Yoga. But this is really a line that is experiential in nature, where we learn and we gain wisdom from our own experience. And it's really a space of non-judgment, of course, of each member of the community as we go into our exploration on the nature of reality. And today it's very different because of the time that we're living in. Now we're really able to open because the density has been we're moving out of the density and out of the negativity in such an accelerated way that we are able to open, as you know, with you also have a mystery school. So we are able to open to greater numbers of people, for those who are dedicated to walking this path, because it is a path of commitment. It's sometimes not an easy path as we transform from the inside, as we walk the path of alchemy, where we're alchemizing energies that come into our field and taking full responsibility, 100% responsibility for what is happening inside of us, instead of projecting it outside and creating chaos in the energetic field that way.
Yeah,
that's maybe a start.
Yeah, and I want to add to that also which is for us important, because in so doing, going inside for everything in your life, actually, one gradually really remembers how to live from one's divine essence. So yeah, rather than we call the illusion of separation. And we feel that this in turn allows one to contribute to the world from the resonance of the true self. And there's a lot to say about the true self. But that is coming for us from a place of oneness. And in this way, it's really deeply linked with the temple tradition, the place, the school of life, where spirit and matter comes together and unite. Yeah. Well, just a little bit. We could go on and on.
We could go on forever. And I want to start with one of the things that you just said, because I think this is really powerful. You said we remember, and we hear a lot right now about awakening. And I think it's a kind of a misnomer that we're awakening to something. I use the word remember. We are not awakening. We are remembering who we are. We're remembering our roots, remembering. And that's what your school is, a school of remembrance. And so for you, what do you feel is that, why do you say remembrance, and why is that important in the lineage of your mystery school, and what kind of is the vision and the mission of the Mary Magdalene Mystery School?
Well, it's such a good question. We are eternal beings, as you know, and we have incarnated on Earth, some of us for a very, very long time, through the time of forgetting. Forgetting where we've forgotten so much that we think that we have thought that we only exist in the physical reality. And of course, there's nothing further from the truth than that. We exist as multidimensional beings, and we exist on many planes of consciousness simultaneously in many parallel realities, and beyond the time and space spectrum as well. And remembering that, and step by step integrating that into our lives without creating a major disturbance in our life and staying anchored in our physical reality, is a process, as you know. So this is the process that we're accompanying people through, so that they can open up as they are ready to, one step at a time, in their own unique timeline, to this greater field of consciousness and awareness of who we really are, because ultimately we are all one and we are not separate.
Yeah, and that field opens in this space of oneness where all is connected. So much intelligence, cosmic intelligence, memories of all these dimensions that Anna just mentioned open up and are accessible. And the beauty is that we feel, all of us, I'm sure, how things are speeding up, how more and more is available. And that is such a joyful situation where we are in, to benefit from that and to move on, to awaken in whatever we're supposed to do here, because we feel truly that soul growth for all of us is really an important path.
Mm.
And if you ask what is the purpose of Mary Magdalene School as such, we had no idea in the beginning because we really stepped in on a deep calling, like show up and bring all that you carry in your soul and in your wisdom to the forefront, which we did. But of course, it has to do with bringing to the forefront a deep consciousness that we're all deeply connected in one. Not only human beings, but also all the kingdoms that are there, the animal, mineral, plant kingdom, you name it, and beyond. So we do go in our work beyond the planetary domain into more cosmic realms, because that is what has been given to us in this channel, and that's what makes this channel also specific. Yeah.
And if I could answer further to your question, this school is actually a resurrection of a school that has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And that is something that we also started awakening into. So what we have understood over the 5 years of existence of this school, of being present to this channel, is actually this school exists in many other dimensions within our galaxy. Actually, most of the beings that attend our school do not have physical bodies here on Gaia. That's another kind of a weird thing that we found out, but we now completely understand how this is operating, because we also have existences beyond Gaia. So we actually attend to those, for example, who have moved beyond their physical bodies but have not finalized their Earth school. And we find them regularly within our channel, learning with us within our force field, within this consciousness field. And what is the ultimate purpose of this? Well, in some way, for each person, it may be different, but I think that many of us on this path have memories of, for example, being much more sovereign in our energy systems. There's so many things that we remember we used to be able to do, but cannot do yet, because the density is still there. And in some way, by keeping the focus on the remembrance, on the knowledge that there are these things that are possible to the human being, then slowly but surely we're building the field to be able to hold those realities to come back into our physical Earth reality.
Yeah, and maybe on a planetary level, there is a very specific work that we feel that we bring into the Western culture. Let's put it like that, which has to do with lineages that are connected to the lineages that you also mentioned, where you work with Melissa. So we do have, indeed, in this channel, not by coincidence, of course, long lineages going back to the Essenes, to the Egyptian cultures, to beyond. What is coming out of these lineages, also from Africa, and of course, all these cultures were connected also at these times, so all around the globe.
Yeah.
And then we ended up in France, in the tradition that is here. So that's also there.
Yeah.
And underneath it all, if I could put one last point, we are really, really committed to creating a field of peace and prosperity for all of humanity. That's really number one at the top of our mission with our global community.
Well, I want to go back to one of the things that you said, because I find it super fascinating, because this happened with my mystery school also. Was I got the message that I was supposed to open a mystery school, and I didn't know what the heck I was like. What am I going to do, right? And that's exactly what you just said. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting, because I literally I had shut down a very successful business where I was teaching something, quantum work and miracles and manifesting in a different way and quantum healing. And then I took a year off, and then I got this message, and I was like, "Who am I to mystery school?" And I see the same that you said. You received this spiritual guidance. Petra received yours from Mary Magdalene. Anna received yours from Yeshua. And, so what exactly happened in that, the messaging from those that steps you forward into the mystery schools? Because I know for me, and I'm curious if it's similar. I was like, oh no, you want me to do that? You fill it because I don't even know. And now, and then it wasn't until a year later when Yeshua was helping me write my book that I finally understood why I had started the mystery school a year prior. A year prior, it took me over a year to even start to get an inkling of understanding. So I'm wondering, like, how was that process for you? Because you said you're 5 years in now, and where were those messages coming from, Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, and what happened in those first couple of years? Because it's super fascinating.
Yeah, it is really fascinating, is that it's really just walking in trust. But I think both Petra and I we're used to walking, kind of into the unknown every single day. So that is probably also the reason that they said you and you together, there you go ahead. And I think the first year and a half we were sharing a lot of knowledge that we had both accumulated and also receiving knowledge. And then I noticed a very distinct shift happen after about a year and a half, where what became our channel really became our channel. It wasn't there was like a kind of like a process of getting used to these frequencies that they were offering us, that they were training us through. And then we've had other moments during the process.
And bringing trust, because we received information that we had never received before. We really felt we were pushed to the edge on our capacity. Like, okay, are we going to speak this into the public? Like, we don't even fully with ourselves.
Yeah, are they going to think are they going to think we're nuts?
So it was really a matter of trust, and then afterwards, and I think that happened in the beginning, we understood. Then it all fell into place. Always, always, always. So the trust grew in ways that's still there, and that helps, of course.
And it was very non-linear, as you probably know, but then there would always be this completion of a cycle where it would all come together. And then at a certain point in time, we had members of our community that started saying, it would be really useful to have some kind of a linear curriculum, like what you would do in a normal school for the Western mind. It would really help us. So that's something that we meditated on, and for about a year we meditated on, and finally we made the commitment to do that, to support people through a process so that the Western mind, in a way, could be appeased, and people could be taken by the hand, and so we are.
And in that was a great need for language.
Yeah,
because we feel that entering this new paradigm we're moving into, there's really a new vocabulary necessary to be able to express what is really going on. And we are not trained in these vocabularies. And that is really part of a big part also of our work, to find the words to express what it is that we experience. It helps, and it relieves the stress in our system to be able to, that it has a word and that we can communicate about it
the best we can. And as you probably know, these are also the understanding evolves, and with the understanding evolving, a greater, more refined vocabulary can be put into place. So all of that is part of the process, probably that you're doing.
You also said it's exponential, right? Which is what I have found, like after my last trip with taking everybody to Egypt and coming back this last time, it was like I was given the same message, like even more of like and it's exponential. Every time you take people, the more you're learning, the more you're processing. And even though you're creating a linear process, it's like what you were teaching before that was maybe like, a couple of years, people are getting in like a couple of months now. And there's an integration that's so fast and so deep. And then it's like, then allowing for that language to come out in a different way. It seems
absolutely. We said so often, like, can it go any further? Can it go any faster? Can it go any further? And we felt like, okay, this is probably it.
Right.
And the moment we thought that, the next layer on the spiral already showed up.
Yeah,
But
one of the things that you were talking about was the cosmic, right? Like you're not just talking about like the lineages here on Earth, but you talked about the cosmic. Like I was like, I want to talk about the galactics and the cosmic. That's way over there. That's woo woo. That's too much. That's too much, right? And then you're like, no, you're saying there's cosmic lineage that goes along with the work that you're teaching.
yeah, and in some way, what we've come to understand is that without integrating that we are also galactic beings and galactic
Yes.
citizens, we cannot truly understand how to bring peace to this planet. Because if
Mhm.
we define ourselves only by the criteria of our current societies, then we don't have actually the consciousness to be able to bring in other solutions that
Mhm.
come from a higher intelligence space. So a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, actually, this came very strongly. That we really need to start owning our galactic citizenship, and also not only for our work on this planet, but sometimes we're called into all kinds of galactic spaces, and you can't invent this stuff, as you know, and you can't plan it. It's not on a timeline. You can't say at 4 o'clock I'm called in to go to Pleiades. The things happen on their own, and all of a sudden, boom, it happens, and you have to be somewhere, and everything else stops in this physical realm, and you go, you do the work, you do the whatever is needed, you assist in the way that is needed, and then you come back. And how that serves the greater evolution of life, that is a great mystery. But what we know is that we just need to show up where we're called to show up, because we are all part of that unified life stream.
Beautiful. So let's dive into the heart of your Humanities Stream Plus course, which is the Mary Magdalene School, the Sophia Christ Healing Circle. So what exactly is a Sophia Christ Healing Circle, and how did this come to you?
Yeah, it's maybe to phrase it slightly different. It's not per se a course, as there are 4 different circles that at the basis have a healing modality. Because what arrived within this mystery school context is the temple of the one heart. That came really clear. The one heart, the one soul. It's very important. And in that temple, there there was a space created inside of us that had to do with a healing sanctuary, a multidimensional healing sanctuary. The moment we moved in there inside of ourselves and we connected to this space and to the beings, the benevolent beings that were guiding us there, we felt that we were working with energies that were so specific and so beyond anything we knew at that moment. There was an opening in power that would absolutely activate the healing process on whatever level. It could be physical or emotional or mental, spiritual, soul retrievals. There, all kinds of things happened when these forces came into place and they started to work. And we were present, and we were facilitating and holding this space. And this temple space became a really incredible place for consolation and multidimensional healing on many levels. And we can only say this in an incredible humility, because we have maybe a small idea of how it works, but it's so much greater than we probably could ever catch. And we really bow here for the great mystery, and we show up in the highest possible integrity that we hold to open this space for everybody in need. And that's why we felt it important. We do this every month with in the moment healings in our school. But we felt when we got in contact with Humanities team how important it is to bring this healing power to the world at this time. Because yes, there is a lot of study going on. Yes, there is a lot of activation in ascension processes and so on and so on. And yes, there is an incredible need for sacred healing on all levels, because we are multidimensional, and on all these levels we need a specific healing. It can change in every moment, as you probably know.
Hmm.
And the Sophia Christ is really the forces that work through our channel, that come from let's say a solar Christ consciousness, with the activating principle from the Sophia. So it's really a force that comes in union, and through that united force, the field is held and healing happens for those who ask also to be healed. So it requires a step, it requires a step to come forward and to come to a circle, to step into the space of healing for yourself. And then in a collective space like we create then things amplifies in ways that the personal healing happens, but at the same time there's a collective healing happening that is for the group, but also beyond. So in a way we work also indirectly and directly with collective healing on whatever rises in the field.
Yeah. Also, we were really instructed that these are the new or the old modalities of healing that we have always used, because healing takes place through frequency. And of course, no one can heal anyone else unless that person is prepared to heal. So, and usually we don't heal all at once. We usually heal in incremental steps, because it is the consciousness that is shifting that allows for the healing to take place. So we actually have a lot of people that come in regularly, if they have chronic issues or if they're on an accelerated spiritual awakening path. There are people that come in to support their families' ancestral healing. A lot of ancestral healing takes place here.
Animals.
There's people that come in to hold the space and bring healing to the elemental realms, to the plant kingdom, to Gaia, to often also to the global human collective. So it really depends. Each person comes in with their own prayer and their own intention, where they would like to direct this healing energy, healing spectrum to. And we are learning. It is getting more and more powerful. And we're being told, well, and for our community as well, just keep studying this and being with it and see what arises. And the more you study it and the more you spend time and you practice, the more miracles, or what we call miracles, happen.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's watch the first clip from this program. What is the Sophia Christ Healing Circle?
The content of these healing meditations, these healing journeys, originally comes from Sophia Christ Healing Circles, which we offer online through Mary Magdalene School. The 4 healing videos, healing journeys in this set, are 30 to 40-minute healing sessions. So we invite you to work with them at moments when you feel you are in need of support for your own healing process. It's our intention that you greatly benefit from these healing journeys, which have been brought into our world through the guidance of many light beings that are supporting the ascension of humanity at this time.
Yeah, this circle is an interdimensional healing space, and it's emanating from the Sophia Christ consciousness of one. So the primary focus of this global healing chamber is on healing suffering of any kind, which may manifest for you as a physical, emotional, or a psychological pain, but also on a level of mental blockages or spiritual misalignments. So any dis-ease or discomfort can be brought into this field in order to be alchemized and liberated. Yeah,
the healing circle takes place in what we call the Temple of the One Heart. And this is an etheric temple existing in the subtler planes of our universe. And there are several chambers in this temple. One of these temple chambers is the Sophia Christ Healing Chamber, and it has many attendants. In the space, there are many healing angels, galactic healers, and sometimes specific light beings come in to support a particular work. and the resonance and the energies are often experienced as very, very high, which support healing at all levels.
So beautiful. Do you have a story or of a healing or maybe a miracle that's unfolded because of one of these circles that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We always stimulate people to share with us. So we do have a few of these stories. Yeah. Maybe on the physical end, we've had really a young woman who had really for a long time hernias, and she was really dedicated to heal those on many levels. She worked, and yeah, at the moment she's free of that. So that's, I mean, and she keeps coming. So, she feels that the healing process is still happening. So though the physical pain in the body has been released, she has found a new balance, but still she needs she feels she needs to come to be nourished and to make it stronger and stronger in herself. So she moves also in her own way through these processes and these different bodies and the memories of the body. So back pain is something that we hear more often, where people come in for, but also people who have an accelerated healing after accidents of any kind, small accidents, bigger accidents. So those we know also about. We had people with hormonal problems and need for hormonal balancing and relief of menstrual pain, for example. We heard some really beautiful stories about that, but also people who go through really intense, soul processes, recovery of deep trauma that they're holding, and then they need the support of this field to move through that with more ease and smoother in a way. So that's also what happens a lot. Of course, a lot of emotional trauma that is also circling around in these times. A lot of trauma is surfacing, of course, and people come in for that. But also people who come in to support others who are sick or cannot attend for a variety of reasons. And they come in to support those people. So not everybody comes in for themselves. And that's also beautiful.
Yeah, it's good to say that, of course, in these energetic spaces, because we exist beyond time and space. When we come into a circle like this, we always make a space to call in others who could be in need of healing. And it's really beautiful because, we often have family members or friends that cannot make it, or who can need support. And so people come in and they invite them in, they invite their souls in. And so these healing circles, there's quite a lot of beings that are present, and it's really beautiful in that way. Yeah.
And we also make a very clear split, if people do that we always work with the higher self of these beings. So it's important to say that we really want to keep the hygiene there also, that it works on that level. Yeah.
In these healing circles, one of the things that you talk about is supporting the reactivation of our original source DNA, what you call the divine template of love and perfection. Can you share a little bit more about what that is, the original source DNA?
Yeah, well, there's so much to say.
We can go into that one for just an hour itself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we have been living in great distortion fields that have been there for various reasons, which we won't go into at the moment. But because of these distortion fields, of course, there's also distortion around our DNA. So as we clear out our systems from these distortion fields and inversion fields, these fields where everything is the opposite of what it's said that it is. But so when we actually move into the truths, the divine truth, then we're doing that actually energetically in layers. So as we're doing that, and we are actually returning our original DNA blueprint back to the blueprint we received from our creator, rather than the distorted blueprint that has forgotten its origins. You know, we don't exist in a vacuum. We exist in an energetic field. And if that energetic field is healthy, then we are healthy. And if that energetic field is not healthy, then we do not thrive. So we're in the process of, from within ourselves, shifting the field in order to support the outer field to be aligned with our divine blueprint, for the humanity to realign with its divine blueprint. And of course, we do this one person at a time, and then collectively with those who choose to walk this path and do this service.
Yeah, we had a whole period of time also that we worked in the tradition of the solar priest and priestesses, and we worked a lot with the solarization of our multidimensional body, which supported this DNA work a lot. And that happened almost on its own, but we've seen it accelerating, and we witness in these times again another layer that's coming in, and we're very excited about it, actually, that we are moving into that next layer of bringing in very specific light from our great solar consciousness. So yeah.
And as we activate these different layers of the DNA, of course, with that we regain our memory at the different levels that we exist on, because our DNA is not only, of course, physical, it's also energetic.
Multidimensional. Yes.
Yeah, as you know, it's multidimensional. And so we can't do it all at once. It has to go in steps, because we need to be gentle with ourselves, and we need to do this in the right timing for each and every unique individual. So this is also what's beautiful about these Sophia Christ Healing Circles, is that when one comes in, then one is healing and remembering at their own unique pace.
Yeah. As you start to activate each of those different strands of DNA, you have these activations of memories from these lineages of, like, you know, the soul lineages of those that have seeded this planet. And we get to reactivate and energetically align to these things. And these memories start to fall. I have to say fall, but like come back in. It's like, again, it's that remembering. We're remembering who we are as these multidimensional beings. And then you have, like, maybe your 6D self activates, and then your 10D self activates, and then you have these pieces. It's so beautiful when we start talking. DNA is one of my favorite things. So I love that piece. Let's go ahead and watch our second clip today about the sacred geometry of our inner, I think it's the inner truth. So yeah.
Aligned with the original source DNA, your system naturally begins to emanate love, compassion, health, perfection, and vital life energy. Just allow this to happen naturally, as all of the healers here today come from a very high field of intelligence and energetic skill. They know exactly what to do in order to help you restore your original divine blueprint. Allow yourself to fall into vibratory alignment with the natural, divine life frequencies of the inner waters. The pure divine nature of your inner waters is ever present, And all you need to do is align with this reality within yourself to begin moving into that emanation. Surrender into the reality of your divine I Am presence, which is already deeply encoded in the inner waters of your body system. You are source energy. You are nourished by the light of spirit always. You are the divine light.
You are the divine light. So beautiful. Do you want to explain just a little bit about, because I know that was like a section from the one of the healings, like what's happening there for those that are watching?
Mm-hmm.
What is exactly your question, Melissa?
Oh, I was just, if you want to share a little bit more about like, what's actually happening, what you were sharing in that for people that are, because we took a centerpiece out of a middle of a like a meditation. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I hope that when you hear that and you tap into this, that you can experience it, because the field is so strong, and I feel that's the gift for all of us, for us to be able to offer it, and for those who participate to receive it and to bring it with them in their own surrounding, because it has an impact, of course, on our entire body system and our surrounding. So, and that is, I think, also what the beauty is of that the mystery schools have come back online, is that we have the possibility to have a direct experience. There's no one here in this room who will tell you what to feel, what to experience, what is best for you, but that the direct experience from source, as you are the divine light, and we are all a fractal of source, that we can have this direct experience, direct communication, direct everything, exchange. And I feel that's a big gift in these circles and in all the work. I think that's accessible in a mystery school that works from this space. Yeah.
And we're also, as you know, the entire work, the spiritual work, is to make a 180-degree change of direction. And instead of seeing everything on the outside, we start to see everything from the inside. So in a very important way, these are also encoded meditations, so that through the field of alpha, theta, delta field of the recipient, those codings are integrated into the system, and slowly but surely the system starts to perceive differently from the original source point rather than from the point of separation.
Beautiful. The module that we just listened to was called Restoring the Sacred Geometry of Our Inner Waters. I'm going to share a little bit more about how sacred geometry fits into the work that you do, and what does that mean, restoring the sacred geometry?
Well, we see that with every change in consciousness, how the geometry also is a fluid geometry, and restructures itself in a fluid way, in new ways, in more perfected ways, and it holds our consciousness somehow in ways that we can, as human beings, use it in our daily everything, in our daily life. And we see that with this work, when we do these healing circles, we witness that how these geometries restructure and they find the perfect balance that is needed at that moment in time for the person involved. So there is very much an individual optimization as we witness it in each and every one who is attending in these meditative states in a healing environment. To allow the entire body to react, and the geometry of the body is part of that. And that is what we see in the inner realms. And as you just said, I mean, then the outer form and the physical follows. And that's where the healing comes in. So geometry is one angle to look at it. And of course, I mean, we could talk about the waters. We have a whole online program on the waters, because that is, we feel, a domain that we are just touching on as human beings. There's a lot to learn from the memory that we hold in our inner waters, in the saline waters, that the most original waters from Gaia that we also hold in our bodies from her and with her. So there's a lot to say, but definitely in these healing circles, we do work with the inner waters, because those are the parts in ourselves that hold the memory that we sometimes need to release or need to reprogram. Mm-hmm. The waters are, I mean, we know that we're more or less water.
Water. Yes.
Beautiful water planet.
Water holds memory, and it's so powerful. Yeah.
So powerful, and it goes way beyond, and so I think with everything, as everything comes back to its original divine state, the waters itself, there's also a lot to say about how they then support us to bring back, probably the most original memories.
Yeah, and these, in a way, these healing sessions are encoded through the voice, which is a sound and frequency of the 7th dimension. It moves through the 6th dimension of geometry, and Petra's an extremely, extremely powerful seer. So she's seeing all these geometries. I keep on saying it's so, I'm so sorry she doesn't know how to draw them all, because I would like to see what she sees. But so she can see real time what is actually happening in the system. And this is also a beautiful healing modality, to actually be able to witness real time what it is that's happening geometrically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a protractor, and I'm always trying to draw all the sacred geometries I'm seeing. And we have our students try to draw it, because there's a power in being able to take that and put it in and actually see it in front of you with your eyes also. So I love, we want to see it, Petra. Come on.
We spoke about it recently, like how we're going to organize that now.
Yeah. Well,
and so what we're being told is, in sort of advanced forms of communication, which hopefully we'll be getting into soon. There is actually the transmissions, the psychic transmissions, function through geometry. Yep. So no more words, but geometry. Yeah. And so in some sense, there's something opening in our field, and in the role that we are to play in opening up that consciousness, which we are yet to discover.
Yeah. Well, we have many people are opening up to their light language, right? And we understand that light language there's a sound and frequency behind it. And the light language is its light is encoded, right? It's encoded information. So you have the light, and before light is the geometry. And so you have the geometry, and before that is the sound and the frequency. And so when you're layering all the way back to the actual languagings of things, there's a harmonic resonance that is the original that comes even before, that then turns into the geometry, that then is that piece of that light that then comes through as light language. So we are opening up. It's like we live in a place where, I speak English and maybe a couple of other languages, and, you're from the Netherlands and from, Europe, you have these languages, but the actual words are so limited to the amount of what there is out there. There's just not enough there in our actual language to explain so many of these things, because we can say things like unity consciousness, or the divine feminine, and this, but in the end, it's like there's such the nuance of a frequency underneath could be 1,000 times something that you're trying to say with 2 words.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true. And
that's the whole point. That's why we do this actually in a meditative framework, because it's through the frequency that people receive what they need too. And what we also see, and what we've seen over the last 5 years, is that with each repetition, for example, there's an entirely different layer of consciousness that comes through. And we've had people in our community say that they have done some meditations over 100 times. I mean, literally still gaining layers of consciousness. So, there's one layer where, yes, we are, the consciousness is so accelerated that we are learning in, 10 seconds, probably what we did in 6,000 years before. So there is that layer. And simultaneously, that which is there can be accessed at many, many, many layers if we repeat it. So both are happening.
Yeah, beautiful. So one of the things that I noticed with your mystery school is it's called the Mary Magdalene Mystery School, and you speak of the Sophia Christ consciousness, and you also the miraphors, right? There's this feminine divine wisdom that is resurfacing, that is really a part of the play of what you're speaking about. So how can we collectively return to more of that feminine wisdom in these lineages and bring that into this rightful place here on Earth?
You want a recipe, yeah?
Right?
2 minutes, you say? Yeah. Well, I think for us in our channel, let's put it like that, we feel that at the heart of it, we are here to bring back or activate the power of creation, which comes through the unity. And I mean, we all know that we need to bring back the feminine essence in all of us, to balance it. I'm talking specifically also in the West, to balance both the masculine and the feminine, or the yin and the yang, we like to maybe phrase, because we feel there's a lot of confusion about the words feminine and masculine also. But we feel in the end that we are here to bring somehow the power of the two together to alchemically arrive in a third way. And I feel that with the consciousness and with the work that we're doing to work from a space, from the heart, from the soul, bring all of our awareness to the inside, that there is no other way than to find unity and to find that feminine element or that masculine element, because that's also missing in let's say, in a sacred way. So I know, of course, the whole language around bringing back the feminine energy, but in our channel, and it may not seem so because of the name, but our main purpose is to bring back the unity of all. And
I think so. I mean, the Sophia Christos, right? So we have the Christ consciousness, which is considered that masculine, was where we've all heard of the Buddha Christ consciousness, like, right? That's more of the language that we hear right now. And I really love the fact that you said Sophia Christ, right? Which is because the Sophia is the feminine, it is the void, is the open, is the womb, it is those pieces, and you're bringing them two together and saying, here's the unity of the divine feminine, the divine masculine. How do we unify these things together? And even in your spiritual guidance, one of you received Mary Magdalene and one of you received Jeshua again, right? The unity of those two pieces together very clearly. I think that, one of the challenges is that we've a lot of times we only hear about one side. And so it's like, how do we honor and bring in that feminine wisdom and also the masculine wisdom that still needs to come, because we've been over inundated with a toxic masculinity and a lot of things, and it's like this here we can bring these two pieces together beautifully. I think that you've done a beautiful job of showing that.
We really feel that the power of creation comes from the deep and receptive power of let's say, the feminine energies, but and then infused with the noble, sacred masculine energies. And our dream is that all of us may live that and experience that.
Connected to truth, connected to divine truth, and connected to the reality of who we really are, which are immense souls that are anchored into a body of oneness consciousness, where the creation we're speaking of is not a mental creation. It is a creation that comes through us, that's received through us. It's not one that we think up. It's one that we receive, and it's always connected to our most deepest soul desire. So it's a whole body of creation, I think, that has not really been explored yet, but is opening up, because it requires in some way to let go of the ego to be able to access this level of creation.
Yeah, beautiful. So we have about 5 minutes left, and so we're going to start with some questions. Yeah, we've been chatting. We could go on forever. I love it.
Sure.
So from YouTube, we have Rosa, and she asked, what kind of experience is multidimensional experience really?
Well, you know, that's one of those questions that can be answered through direct experience. And it's necessary because otherwise it stays theoretical. Our multidimensional bodies are infinite. And we may experience, for example, that all of a sudden we know of something that's happened somewhere halfway across the world, or that we know something that is happening to one of our family members that we're not near. And what part of us knows that? It's coming through another sensory mechanism. So we're used to talking about the five senses, but actually in ancient Egypt, they talked about 360 senses. So, you know, count how many more senses we have beyond the five senses that we are used to thinking are our only senses. Well, maybe the sixth sense as well, right? And that encompasses the rest of them. But
we're only at the beginning.
We're really only at the beginning.
And also to understand the divinity of our body. Just to start, becoming, come back into a relationship with your own body. That will give so many openings already to this question, to experience the body in its infinite wisdom, and then see what comes. But it has to come from the inside. It has to come from an inner reflection, an inner meditative state to catch it.
And we also very often with our community, when we lead programs, then we are always encouraging people to write what they experience, because often in the multidimensionality, unless there's a very strong multidimensional experience, our experiences happen in much more subtle ways because we're operating with much more subtle energy. So we have this culture that has historically said, well, that doesn't exist and that never happened. And so we have interiorized those voices. So in order to reappropriate our own real system, very often we ask people to journal so that they don't forget. And the more we observe and the more we interact with that part of ourself that had the experience, the more also our awareness of that multidimensionality will grow.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, we had one more clip to watch, but we're not going to get it fitted in today. So what I suggest is that you go over to the Humanities Stream Plus platform to be able to enjoy these beautiful Sophia Christ Healing Circle. So I have one more short question for you before we close out today. And if you have a message or a transmission that if Mary Magdalene or Jeshua was here speaking directly through you to our community, what would they want us to know right now?
I just feel they're so proud. They're so proud of all of us who are doing this work. I mean, we are actually the answer to their prayer.
Oh, I love that.
All of us, all of us.
All of us, the beauty, treasures that we are, that we honor that, and that we day by day stay in the space of love.
Beautiful. Yeah. You are the answer to your own prayer. So thank you everyone for joining us for this Mary Magdalene School Sophia Christ Healing Circle with Petra and Anna, and it is now available on the Stream Plus platform. Join Stream Plus now and gain immediate access to this incredible program. Along with other incredible spiritual teachers and programs, we're proud to say that Humanities Stream Plus is the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising master classes and transformational education. We are a nonprofit and also give back with our one-for-one program, sharing our content with those who cannot afford the membership. I want to thank Steve Farrell, Dee Meyer, and the production team, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy Marthaler, Karen Weissert, and the rest of the Humanities team. Thank you so much, Anna and Petra, for joining us today. So many blessings. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.